So, we're going back to Middle-earth, not for a new story, not for a new journey, but to retroactively insert scenes into a story that was already finished over 20 years ago. Warner Bros. Have announced a new film, The Lord of the Rings: Shadow of the Past, and somehow this is being sold as a sequel. It's not a sequel. It's a flashback pretending to be important. Welcome back to watching nonsense unfold. And this one was too good to ignore. I first read these books when I was about 12 years old, still got the same copies. And, like a lot of people, The Lord of the Rings actually meant something, which is why this announcement feels a bit off. So, here's what we've got. A new film, The Lord of the Rings: Shadow of the Past, produced by Peter Jackson, co-written by Philippa Boyens, and also Stephen Colbert. Now look, I'm sure he loves the books, but loving something and writing a multi-million-dollar film are not the same thing. The premise is where this really starts to fall apart. The story is set 14 years after Frodo leaves Middle-earth, and from there we go backwards. Sam, Merry, and Pippin retracing their steps because of some newly discovered secret, which basically translates to here are the scenes we didn't include the first time. And those scenes come from early in the Fellowship of the Ring, the Old Forest, the Barrow-downs, and yes, Tom Bombadil. Now, Tom Bombadil is where things get interesting, because a lot of people remember him, but not always exactly how he appears. For some reason, I've always had this image in my head of him standing on a hilltop watching the party leave, but that's not actually how it plays out in the book. What actually happens is much simpler. He rescues the hobbits from the Barrow-wights, brings them back to safety, then he walks with them to the edge of his land, and when they reach the road to Bree, he stops, says goodbye, tells them to leave their fears behind, and sends them on their merry way. No big moment, no dramatic presence, he just exits the story. And that matters, because Tom Bombadil isn't part of the main conflict. He doesn't affect the ring, he doesn't influence the outcome of the war, he exists completely outside it. He's described as master of wood, water, and hill. He moves through that world freely, but he's not tied to the central story. And this is where the film runs into trouble, because it's not just showing these events, it's trying to make them important. It introduces this idea that something back then nearly lost the war before it even began, which means those chapters suddenly have to carry weight they were never meant to carry, and that changes what they are. You're not expanding the world anymore, you're rewriting it. And we've seen what happens when you stretch material like this. The Hobbit trilogy, one relatively small book turned into 3 films, added subplots, artificial stakes, and a lot of it just didn't land. And then there's the technical side, because if they bring the original cast back, they're going to have to de-age them digitally. So now you've got actors decades older trying to fit into scenes that are meant to sit alongside footage from 2001. That's a huge risk. And let's be honest, this probably doesn't stop at one film. At some point, someone is going to suggest integrating this into the original trilogy, a new extended edition, even longer, because apparently 4 hours wasn't enough. The original trilogy worked because everything moved forward. Every scene built towards something. Every moment had purpose. Nothing felt like it had been stitched in afterwards. So, what is this really? It's not a sequel. It's not a prequel. It's a reconstruction. A very expensive attempt to go back and change how the story feels. But I want to hear from you. Are you actually excited for this? Or does this feel like another case of stretching something that didn't need stretching? Do you want to see Tom Bombadil on screen? Or do you think some things are better left alone? And honestly, how many times are they allowed to revisit the Fellowship of the Ring before you say enough? If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and stick around, because I've got a feeling this isn't the last time we'll be talking about this one.